Today we're in Coffs Harbour on the mid-north coast of New South Wales, and we're going to learn a bit more about this shop, Chalkies Skate Store. Come on inside, let's have a look. Bevo.
James, cracking.
How are we?
Not bad, not bad. Just still
beautiful. Thanks for your time this morning. Look, first off, I want to talk about your shop, and obviously it's a great big shop and it's fully decked out, but I want to learn, because I know that you didn't start in this store. So I want to understand Bevo's journey, how we got to this point of opening this store.
Well, it's a long journey. I've been in multiple stores, so why don't we go in here and we'll sit down and we'll have a chat about it.
Let's do it.
Perfect.
So here we are, Bevo. Give us a bit of a run through about your journey up to the point in where we are at now. How did you get into all of this?
Yeah, well, I guess we're sitting here at Chalkies Skateshop, which is, I guess, the latest evolution of my skate shop journey. I've been in this location on Harbour Drive for 7 years. This is a partnership between myself and my brother. But prior to that, I've had my old skate shop by myself for many, many years.
And so was that directly before this skate shop, the prior one? And where was that? Was that also in Coffs Harbour? And did that do the same kind of thing?
Do you want me to go all the way back to the start?
We've got time.
Perfect, all right. Well, I guess I've always been a skateboarder. You know that. We went to school together.
I do, we used to skate together. Good times, good times.
Yeah. Except I just didn't get over it, mate.
Yep.
I've skated forever, and at the times of when it's time to become an adult and get a trade or, you know, apprenticeship or just go to uni, I couldn't see myself doing that. Everything that I wanted to do at the time was just be who I was, which was a little skate rat, just skating. So I just worked a normal job and skated all the time. And when I was 18 or 19, I was living in a warehouse because in Coffs Harbour we didn't have a skate park, so I wanted to have a space where I could build my own, and I built my own skate park to skate. And eventually it got so good that everyone wanted to come skate it, and kind of freaked me out a little bit because I needed to worry about people hurting themselves there. So the only answer to that would be to get insurance, and once I got insurance I realised that I could actually open that indoor skate park to the public, which I did, and I had a little skate shop in there. So a little skate shop and indoor park for a few years when I was quite young, so from around 19 to 22, 23.
Wow.
And that was my first entry to some sort of legitimate business. And that was, that was Pop's Good Indoor Skateboard Training Facility here in Coffs Harbour.
So that was the official title?
Yeah, it was. I think that was because at the time it was a small facility and we only wanted to cater to skateboarding. That was just how it was then. And so it was just skateboards only, indoor skate park in Coffs Harbour. That was where it started. From then I closed down that facility and did a little bit of travelling, a little bit of skating for myself around Australia, and then came back to Coffs Harbour and opened up a just Pop's Good Skate Shop, which was actually just across the road here with my friend Ash Johnson, who's basically an artist, a street artist here in Coffs Harbour, very well known. Did that for a year and then moved out into my own premises for 6 years, also Pop's Good Skate Shop. So we're talking a pretty long period of time at that point of me having a skate shop, before really realising that I just spent my whole 20s running a skate shop every single day and not having any time for myself. So
Yeah.
I guess that's where Chalkies Skateshop comes into play, which is when it just got to the point where I needed to have a little bit more time, and the only way I saw evolving and being able to spend, I guess, more time with myself and with my family was to branch out, get a business partner, work less, sell more types of skate stuff. So Chalkies doesn't just sell skateboards, we do scooters and roller skates and inlines and all things skate. And then my partner, my business partner, my brother, just splitting that workload and being able to enjoy life as well as working.
So you touched on a couple of things there which I'm really interested to drill down into. And I guess the first, you've obviously had extensive experience in business, both on your own and in partnerships. Can you give us in your own words some of the differences that you've seen, or some of maybe even the challenges you've seen with going on your own versus partnerships? Can you run us through some of that and your opinions?
Yeah, definitely. So if we're talking business, I've got, let's just talk about skate shops today. I think I do have multiple businesses, including multiple partnerships as well with different people. But in relation to this business, going into business with my brother was, I think it's an interesting one to do. You know, I think it's a daunting thing to go into business with your brother. But I think if the level of respect is there and you can understand where each other are at, it can be successful. Yeah, you can definitely make it happen. And looking back on it now, 7 years, you know, my brother Jesse has definitely put a lot of work into this business, and I wouldn't have gone into business with anybody else, I don't think. So yeah, really, I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody because I imagine that the sibling rivalry and sibling dramas in business can get pretty out of hand, and don't get me wrong, we've definitely had our tiffs here and there, but overall I think we do well in business together.
I think there's an old saying that the only ship doesn't float is a partnership. So in business, so I can understand that. Look, I don't want you to go too deeply into specific conflicts or anything like that, or anything that is beyond your comfort level, but would you be able to expand a little bit into some challenges that come up regularly with a partnership, or some alternatively, some of the wins, some of the successes you have continuously because you have a partnership?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I think just being able to share the workload is the best. So, you know, and being able to have that conversation about, hey, I'm not going to be able to do what I've said that I could do, can you step in? And then that sort of being able to be reciprocated the way back as well, you know. So being able to work together is really, really good, whereas if you're, as a sole trader, working by myself for so many years, it's kind of everything relies on you, and it just takes away from actual life. So being able to share that load and enjoy your life, I think, is the most important thing. So I guess in my 20s, pretty much in my 20s, I was a sole trader and I didn't have much of a life. So being able to have a partnership and have that with somebody that you can share that workload and be able to work well with definitely makes you be able to enjoy your life a bit more, which I think is more important than anything.
So there's an obvious trade-off when you go into business with somebody else, is that obviously the workload gets split, but the remuneration, the revenue, the profit, however you want to explain it, obviously gets split as well.
What profit?
Well, what I was interested in is understanding that it sounds like to me that the trade-off for losing some of the financial stake in the business outweighs the ability to have some of the workload taken off your back. Is that fair to say, or?
Yes, for multiple reasons. So, in business, it is pretty common to have your high trade seasons, or maybe not even seasons, maybe a whole year or 2 years or 3 years where things just aren't doing well. If you're a sole trader and you're working by yourself every single day, especially in a retail store where you have to actually be there every single day, whereas if you're working online or something, you can kind of do other things. But if you're working a 9 to 5 in a retail store, in an environment that we're in, as a sole trader, you don't have any time to earn money elsewhere if you're at the shop every single day. Whereas if you're in a partnership with somebody, and say you work 3 days each or whatever, or sometimes maybe a little bit more, at least you have another 3 or 4 days there where you can go and do something else to be able to make some money if the business isn't doing too well, which is what we both do. So.
And that's assuming post that COVID period, which really kind of shook up the world. We had a lot of funny things happening with the economy. I know we had some spikes there for a little while, and with excess money being printed in the system, a lot of people had additional money, additional funds that they wouldn't have otherwise had. And since then, being late 2025, that's probably come off the back burner a little bit. And so I'm assuming you're seeing that reverberate through your business, being it so close to retail.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm pretty connected with the skate scene throughout the whole of Australia. So I understand retail, like in the local area, not for skating, and there's definitely a lull in that. But one of my other businesses is a skateboard distribution. So I distribute to shops all over Australia with some particular brands. But where I'm going with this is I've worked with a lot of sole trader skate shop owners. And in the last 2 years, I've watched the most skate shops close in Australia I've ever seen.
In the last 2 years?
Yeah. So our shop's still here. And I would put that solely on the fact that we're a partnership and we can spend our time elsewhere to be able to make some money, to be able to pay for our day-to-day lives. Whereas some of these other businesses, they need to be open and they don't have any other time to make money for themselves and their family. So they close the doors and go get a 9 to 5.
It's a really interesting point you've raised because, as we touched on earlier, I grew up skating, much like you. And I've had throughout my journey, I've lived in a lot of different towns. And so growing up skating, I was very well aware of the skate shops in particular towns, some of them small regional towns and some of them larger cities. And so one thing that has stuck out to me over time is the fact that skate shops don't tend to last. However, you are the exception to the rule. Whether, Chalkies has obviously been in business for quite a while, but even before that, you've held skate stores consistently. So is that part of the magic sauce? If there's other elements to it, can you share it? Can you share with us?
That's having the partnership definitely helps, but I think the magic sauce is that if you have a business that you enjoy and that's something that you are really passionate about, don't expect to make money. That's all I can say is don't expect to make money, but just be stoked when you do. So you need to, obviously we all need to make money, but I don't think people should start a business expecting to make money.
On day one?
Yeah, I mean, even on day 1,000. If you expect that, you're going to be disappointed. But you can definitely make money in business. It's just, don't expect it.
Is it fair to say, just as an observation, it looks as though from the outside looking in that you've managed to monetize a hobby, and then through business acumen, you've managed to make that monetized hobby profitable?
Sometimes it's profitable, but pretty rarely. I've made my hobby, I've made it more of a lifestyle. So my business is more of my lifestyle. So I'm able to do the things that I want to do, and which is, skate, hang out with skateboarders, do those things that I've always wanted to do, and maintain a business. So although it is a business, it is a lifestyle, and I think that's when I can talk about me realizing how difficult it is to make money in my hobby. So I've created multiple baskets to be able to get by. So not just the skate shop, I have a distribution, I have a skate school where I teach people to skate. There's a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there to create something that can maintain my way of life.
And that's something that I've heard you bring up throughout this conversation. I haven't drilled into it yet because I was interested in a few other elements. But again, if you're happy to expand, I'd love for you to tell me some of the revenue streams that come off Chalkies, because I'm familiar that you have probably a small handful, maybe even more. And so, could you expand on any of those, elaborate, and how they fit in with the broader main business, I'm assuming, that Chalkies is?
Yeah, for sure. So Chalkies, 7 years ago we opened up in this location, obviously as a partnership with my brother. Skate retail is like our main business, or that's what it looks like from the outside. And it definitely is. But when you come in here now, you walk in, you'll see a coffee shop at the front, the skate stuff, the clothing, the pool table, the mini ramp out the back where you can skate. So just little things here and there to be able to help with revenue to make sure that we can keep the doors open. So just making, selling coffees, great coffees by the way.
Fantastic. We had one this morning, Kamil and I. Delicious.
Yeah, you can pay to play pool, you can pay to use the mini ramp here, and then on top of that, we offer like group skate lessons through the school terms, and then privately through my skate school, I do some private skateboard lessons as well.
And what's your skateboard school?
It's Coffs Coast Skateboarding.
Coffs Coast Skateboarding.
Yeah, so that starts from way back when I had the Indoor Skatepark in Coffs. So I was around like 19 or so, as I mentioned, and now I'm 37, so 18 years of teaching people how to skate in Coffs Harbour and having a skate shop as well.
And does that, I'm assuming it would, does that drive much business from the skateboarding school? Does that drive much business back into Chalkies?
Like a little bit. Like we obviously, like for first time skateboarders, we want to make sure that they've got a skateboard that actually works. So a lot of the time we might have somebody coming in and going, I want to learn to skate on this thing from Kmart with plastic wheels, with trucks that don't turn, and it's like, well, like you can try to use that, but you're gonna be disappointed because you're not going to be able to enjoy what it's meant for. They're going to be like, skateboarding sucks because this board doesn't roll. It's just like, no, your board sucks. Get a proper board that works. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You just need to get a proper board that actually works, and then that's going to help. And then just like some protective equipment. So for the first timer, you can get like a tri-pack, knees, elbows, wrist guards, and a helmet. And then you're good to go. So with the lessons, first timers, yeah, of course I'm going to be trying to tell people to buy those things, not just because obviously it's great to push some sales through, but it is actually beneficial to have a board that works and the protection that you need, because spending $80 on some pads and $100 on a helmet is a lot cheaper than spending some time off with
a massive injury.
With a massive injury, yeah.
No, I understand that. The other thing, as somebody with a background in business, I look at your business and I know that when you talk about Chalkies and the other revenue streams that feed into it, it all helps bolster the business. And my business eye looking at it, it looks it screams of business acumen, and I'll tell you why. It's because it looks as though, especially in a regional town, given we're in Coffs Harbour, it looks like you've very intelligently been able to create a business moat. So you've cornered a really specific market in a town where there's probably not too much room for much competition, and you've really been able to grab a hold of every, or at least most business opportunities that circle that main retail skateboard outfit. Now, is that a reasonable observation? And if so, was that planned?
When was it planned? Because we're talking like a business that's been, if you talk about my time in business, you're talking like an 18-year stint. And the first time I opened Indoor Skatepark, there was nothing planned. I just had it. So I wouldn't say that these things are planned. I just, when you're sitting in a brick and mortar store and you see opportunities, you just take them, I guess. Like starting with the coffee and the little bit other things here and there. It's just, if you have the space and you have the ability to do it, then you may as well give it a crack.
And so that's about kind of how you've worked up to where you are now, and your brother in business. Can you let us into the mind of Bevo? Can you share with us where you would like this journey to continue into the future with Chalkies? What if we were to come back and do this interview in 5 years? What would Chalkies look like? Would it be the same? Would it have evolved?
That's a great question. I mean, it has evolved a lot, and it is at a point where it is, it's pretty nice looking little business. So yeah, I have a lot of compliments from people coming through from even bigger cities that are like, oh, we don't have a skate shop like this anywhere. So I think there might be a little bit of evolution, but if you want to get into my mind, I'm more of at the point of, I think I've set up a business that I'm pretty comfortable with, and it'd be really nice to have that be able to operate itself so that I can go enjoy my life more, because I spent my 20s in a skate shop without working every single time by myself. So and then when I turned 30, I said I'm going to enjoy my 30s, and then COVID hit.
Yep, very familiar.
Yeah, so like business is business, but I think just enjoying your life and spending your time with family is the most important thing.
So would that look like, extrapolating out into the future where you get a little bit of time back, would that mean you would have a broader team of staff here to take care of more of the duties on your behalf? Would that mean a manager enter the store? How would that look like?
Look, potentially, but it would just depend on revenue and stuff, I guess. Staffing is one of the hardest things in business, I think. I've had many staff over the years, and it's one of the hardest things that a business can do is employ staff. The amount of things that is expected as a business owner to have an employee is insane. So, an employee looks at it and goes, okay, I'm getting paid this much an hour, but the business doesn't pay that an hour. They pay a whole lot more in so many other factors. It's crazy.
Insurances, superannuation, holiday if they're on contracts. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that, and I'm really actually.
Plus, you're gonna have to. You can't just hire someone and go, all right, go look after the store. It's like you hire someone, you have to train them, which means you're paying them for you to train them, and then you got to spend that time in the store. So it's really tough, especially when you don't have a business that generates an enormous amount of money.
I'm really glad you raised that, because I think there's probably a little bit of an information divide in Australia currently, maybe even around the world, around the employee-employer relationship, and I don't think often enough we hear the opinion of the small business owner. Often we see the Jeff Bezos of the world, and we say people should be paid more and given more entitlements, which I'm all for, fair wages, etc. But we never really, and we listen to the employees and what they want, and that they aren't able to live on their wages, etc. But very seldom do I hear from actual small business owners who are out getting their hands dirty and hear of the challenges with employees. Is there anything else that you wanted to expand on in that area?
Oh, I mean, I guess just sometimes that's exactly right. There's definitely challenges for the small business owners to be able to employ employees, because after suspending all those things, you look at what to be honest, most of the time, if I did have staff on, which is why we don't really have staff these days, or at the moment since COVID, is by the time we've paid the wages, we've paid, we do the super, all that kind of things, we've actually lost money by having them on. So you're better off closing the doors than employing someone.
It's a really powerful message, and probably a message that I don't hear often enough, because I speak with many business owners off camera, and I think it would alarm a lot of people at how common that message gets delivered. But it's an important one, and it shows the importance of small business owners within our economy, within many economies around the world. So look, obviously you've heard my voice quite a bit, which I'm sure you're very happy with already, but it's mostly been me asking you questions, and so I want, if there's anything left unsaid on your side, I'd love for you to share that with me, with us, about your business and about your business experience, the industry, etc.
Yeah, well, I'll be a bit more specific with the type of business that I am in, which is a skate shop, obviously. You see skateboards everywhere. And that would just be like to support your local skate shop. If you're into skating, or, skate shops don't just sell skateboards. It's the root of fashion, footwear in the skate shops, clothing, all that kind of stuff. Most skater-owned skate shops are not just a retail store. You'll see them sponsoring skaters, supporting skateboarders, so the actual skaters out there. You'll also see them running skate events down the park. Now, that is something that the community really needs, and if you support your skate shop, you'll see more of that, which I think is rad. I think it's awesome. So, not just to support our store, but if you've got a local skate shop out there, make sure you support it. You've got to support the local.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just love, as a side note, how this store and what you've created ties in amazingly with the Coffs Harbour skate park, which is just a few doors up, which you may or may not have had something to do with.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you Google my name, you'll probably see me there with a shovel digging the first bit of
Bevo Newton.
Bit of dirt at the Brelsford Park just over here. But not just that. We've had, we spent a lot of time getting that park built, and since the park was built, we do a major event there. Like for many years, we did an event called Bowlanana, which has now evolved into Kobbas Skate Fest, which is like, not my words, but arguably the best skateboarding competition in Australia. So that's coming from what people have told me about the event. So I put a lot of passion into what I do, not just with the retail store, but when I run events, and especially when it's my event, I want to make it a good event and bring high-level skateboarders to the little town of Coffs Harbour. So,
which isn't so little anymore.
No, it was little once.
It was once.
Grafton used to be bigger.
Is that right? It's a fun fact.
Yeah. But yeah, so not only just the events, we got a bunch of skaters that we sponsor, that we help out, and we skate with on a daily basis. So both me and my brother skate at the park and in the streets, and yeah, that's what it's about. We love skateboarding, and we want to give back to the community. And
you may have had something to do with the other extension or redo of the skate park opposite the Aurora High School?
Yeah, so Bray Street was they wanted to expand the basketball stadium, and I said, you can't do that unless you build us a new skate park.
Clever.
It's kind of like tongue in cheek, and then I'm like, yeah, no worries. That was the easiest skate park I've ever been able to get built, to be honest. That was insane. I think they'd already been like, oh yeah, we'll probably have to do this. And then I helped design that with my friend who owns a skate park company, Revolution. Shane Serena. If you need a skate park built, Shane Serena at Revolution, he's the man.
Wow, that's awesome. That's such a good story. Is there anything else that you want to share with us? Because I've asked you a lot of questions. I've actually learnt quite a lot as well. It's been a fascinating conversation. But is there anything else that you'd like to touch on before we wrap this up?
No, not particularly. I'm definitely got answers to questions, but you won't know unless you ask me.
Right.
Yeah.
We may have to have a part 2. And I guess I just want to end on that, like it is, having watched you grown in business over the past couple of decades, essentially, or more. It's been really fascinating. It's been really inspiring. To try not to touch on the cliches too much, but obviously I've gone away and studied business and been on this side, and then you've gone away and actually built your business from the ground up. We've kind of split off in our own tangents, and I've often watched your business in awe. You know, you touch on revenue here and there, sometimes good, sometimes it's not, but to be able to have the guts and the intelligence to be able to stay in the trenches and stick with your passion over this many years and still be in business is it's a real commendment to your ability and who you are. So I just want to thank you so much for your time and sharing everything, and I look forward to watching you for the next 20 years, and keep inviting me to some of those Christmas parties, hey?
For sure. I will just say, like, if I am here for another 20 years, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing, but maybe it is. I just do it because I love it, mate. So
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome. Should we dap that up at the end?
We'll see how we go.
Ah.
Do that one more time.
It's a bit tinny. One more.
That was terrible.
All right.